In another video we looked at edit, transform, and we looked at some choices like scale, skew, distort, and things like that. This time we're going to specifically take a look at warp. Now warp's a little bit different because it's not going to do things in like a geometric state or in straight lines. So we're going to start again by copying our background. I'm still going to call it retouch out of habit because this is essentially the layer that at some point will retouch, and I'm going to shut this back one off again. Now in order for this to work, we still got to do Command T, and we're going to go to Edit, Transform, and this time we're going to hit Warp. Now it's going to look a little bit different this time because it's going to have like a rule of thirds grid, and that's simply because we've got some different ways to actually adjust our photo. Now the first thing that I want you to know is you could actually grab your photo in the middle and stretch this thing. So that's already a lot different than our other choices. Now for what we're doing, we right now are looking at how these straight lines on this house are actually slightly curved, and that's just distortion from our lens. And we can actually adjust those by pulling these little dots in. If we needed to, we could pull these corners out, and notice how we can actually pull these all the way in. So this allows us to do about anything. But we might pull these out a little bit to straighten up those lines. And then I might suggest actually pushing these in. We're just again trying to get this line to look more straight. Now, so we're at least closer here. I'm not going to worry too much about it being perfect because we're just trying to get the point or see how this is being used. And once I'm done, I can double click this and it actually won't transform. When I'm done with a warp, I have to either press enter or click off on one of these tools and apply it. So I just pressed enter. Now, the problem with this is I've got some gaps here, and if you notice, like we talked about earlier, it's wider at the top and smaller at the bottom. So now I would use my mix of the other edit transform tools. So I'm going to hit edit, transform, distort, and this is going to allow me to pull out these bottom corners. So now this is looking more natural. Now these lines are perfectly vertical, they're straight, they're not curved, or at least closer. And so I've improved that image by mixing edit, transform, warp, and edit, transform, distort. And I've still got a little gap here if I wanted. I could use my crop tool and crop this a little bit tighter. Or there are other ways to deal with that as well, but just for the sake of time today, we'll stop about right there. So we've straightened up our photo, we've straightened these lines, and that's really how we might use edit, transform, warp.